Can I start a question?
Can you ask a question? Yes, of course.
Sure. Okay. So I for the manager fee, 220,000.
I apologize. Just okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So for the management,
You should be able to read. Yeah, sorry.
okay. Now we good now.
Yeah.
So for the management fee, I get it. Last year I asked for Katie when she was here, for just for accounts payable and accounts receivable, it's 220,000.
Right.
So for the payroll compensation, you guys increased to 270. So what's this include? Whose salary are this? And I do request the contract. Who is being paid with this dollar amount? By Florida statute, you are obligated applied to provide all the full contract. Who is being paid
Right. And
270?
so, with regard to all of the association's contracts, those are available on the portal, on the Wellness Ridge portal. So you should be able to log in. If you
No.
haven't already created, they're not there.
That's why. That's one of the questions. So
Okay.
first one, it's I request the full contract, and second one,
Okay. So,
yeah.
So Lauren, as you all know, is the Community Association Manager for Wellness Ridge. And both she and Alex, who is one of the regional directors, they both confirmed that the Wellness Ridge portal is updated with all of the contracts for the association.
When was that done?
Pardon?
When was that done? When was uploaded all the contract? Because we didn't see earlier.
They've been there. I checked last week. Okay, so I mean, was the portal created when the association was created?
Shortly thereafter, yeah.
And then as contracts come in, you update them? Okay, so it's been a couple of years since the portal was created because ICON creates a portal for all homeowners when the association is created. So if you're having difficulty viewing any of the
No,
documents.
we can access other documents which is inside. I can't find neither Norton or whoever belong that 270,000 payroll. I can't find any documents of that.
What? And so you can't find the management agreement?
Not a management agreement. That's separate line item. There's a 270,000 for the payroll and compensation for Lauren and whatever assistant manager.
Okay.
That's what I request.
Right, and so there's certain personnel information that would
It's
not
a privacy. I understand
right,
her age,
that's
her
private.
her
But
privacy.
if you're looking for the management agreement,
No, the 100,000 for the payroll and compensation.
okay. So why don't you give Lauren your email address?
Okay,
She can send that information to you in an email, the breakdown.
Okay,
because
appreciate
I
it.
don't have it right off the top of my head.
okay, then that's next question. Since we're paying 270 for on-site manager, I'm not just go against Lauren. How often you guys are on site? How many days a week you are in the community? And by the way, I find you came license, you live 2 hours away. So as that being said, we don't have any mandate you are managed right now. And how you increase and you hire another system manager. So do we pay you part-time or you get a full-time because you will not be here every day? We have to hire somebody else as assistant manager to fill your job?
No, Lauren is in the community at least 3 times a week, sometimes more, because she does turnover walks with the association's landscape maintenance vendor every 2 weeks. So that would be the week where she might be there a little bit more. We did just hire, ICON just hired an assistant manager for Lauren, because as everyone present may be aware, the amenity is scheduled to open in Q1 of 2026.
Sorry,
So
hold on.
during that
Hold
time,
on.
there
You
will
budgeted
be-
for 64,000 just for club employees. That's separate.
Right, and so if you would let me finish, thank you.
Okay.
We're also going to have a full-time facilities maintenance person and a part-time facilities maintenance person. And they will be a 4-day-a-week and a 3-day-a-week schedule so that we will have maintenance people on site 7 days a week.
Yeah, I understand, that's another 64,000. I'm saying, that's not got nothing to do with Lauren manage the amenities or something.
No, you misunderstand me. When the
No, I'm not,
amenity
hold on 1
opens
second.
in,
So let's say you have all the tree planted, all the tree fell, then you ask Flora to redo it. So Flora gonna build us HOA, we are paying double pay. Why, how come nobody hold them accountable, inspect the tree being planted right? And
right,
then-
so Floralon did not do the tree replacement
Exactly.
project.
I know, that's what I
Um,
say, you build them again, they build us again to clean people's butt. First, the people, when they
I'm
quit.
sorry, can you just please keep in mind that you have 3 minutes? You've surpassed those 3 minutes.
Okay,
What I will say to you is this. The reason that I brought up the opening of the amenity in the first quarter of 2026 is that Lauren and her assistant will have an office in that facility. So instead of just being in the community 3 to 4 days a week, they will be in the community 5 days a week. So there's the answer to that question. With regard to the tree project, we approved a proposal, the board approved a proposal from Matlack Tree Farms. They did a very poor job, so we are having Floralon make repairs to the trees. But please keep in mind before you say that you're being ripped off, Lennar is deficit funding all shortfalls for the association and will continue to do that through turnover. So you're not being double charged for anything. We do need to have these repairs made, and Floralon is doing that, but Lennar is deficit funding any shortfalls.
I appreciate that Lennar's contribute, but I'm saying, why who don't find the contractor did the job? They did a poor job, we need somebody need
Yes,
accountable.
they did do a very poor job, and I have actually met with them on site. They were unwilling to offer any warranty or abide by their warranty, I should say, which is why we have had to have Floralon come in to assist with making the necessary repairs or replacements of trees.
That's why I say, we're gonna get a building again.
As I mentioned,
Okay.
Lennar does deficit fund any shortfalls.
That's the question.
So, I'm sorry, can we give someone else a
Yeah,
chance?
all right.
If you need to stand up again later in the meeting, you
Okay,
can do
thank
that,
you.
but we need to give other folks an opportunity. Do we have any questions in the chat room?
They're having a hard time hearing everyone out here, so I'm just kind of filling in.
Okay, so do we have any questions that they need
No other
answered?
questions other than they cannot hear, but I can discuss.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
have a question?
Oh, yes?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, we did see the email about the increase, I guess, to the townhomes and insurance and how the single family homes were supposed to receive that increase the prior year. Will we be reimbursed as single family homes?
So can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, this way? Okay. Maybe I should just sit next to you then so everybody can hear me. All right, is that better?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So I'll let Icon expand on this point a little bit, but I will tell you that up until February of 2024, the only insurance that every homeowner in the community was paying towards was general liability and D&O coverage, which is standard, and that, again, was the responsibility of every homeowner, regardless of single-family home or townhome. We did have an oversight that was noticed by Lauren relative to townhome insurance, and there was a point at which we started receiving COs on townhomes, which means a certificate of occupancy, and that's when the insurance company started to add townhomes to the policy. That was being sent in one invoice, and Alex Carius with Icon has started to work on that today to determine what townhome fees were paid by the collective. And so while I don't have a good answer for you right now, a conclusive answer, I will tell you that we've spent quite a bit of time the last several days make.
It's $1,000 per house.
He's gonna continue to do that research, so that we can answer that
It's
question.
440 catalogs.
We appreciate you catching that. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Sorry, if you could just hang on a second, we're gonna kind of go back and forth between the folks who are present and the folks who are, online. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm glad that somebody from Lennar is here because I didn't plan to ask this, but I will now. I live on Blissful Street that comes out at Mullins.
Right.
Okay, there's actually two. When you're coming up from Mullins, there's a set of traffic lights, you take a right onto Blissful, and then if you go down further past that dry catch basin, there's another part of Blissful.
Right.
And that's the part that I live on. And when they repaved the entire Blissful streets and in all directions, our part of Blissful Street was ignored. Nothing was repaved, nothing was done. And there's quite a few flaws and nasty gaps.
Right.
I'm just curious why.
Would you mind, when the meeting is over, if you could give me your name and address? I know
Yes.
you introduced yourself, but if you could give me your address and some contact information, whether it be a phone number, an email address.
Yeah.
I will tell you that, I know, and Lauren worked closely with our land development manager, Chris,
Yep.
on the paving project. And I know that we had some difficulty, it extended out a little bit longer than we had expected, but there were signs posted, you may have seen them, just to make sure everybody knew where to park and all that sort of thing. But this is the first that I'm hearing that there were any issues with that project, so I'm glad you brought it to my
I
attention.
have brought that to the attention in the past. And,
To my attention?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nobody seemed to know what was going on. Somebody said, oh, contact the CDD, which I did. CDD said it's not up to them.
Yeah, no, it isn't.
But nothing's been done. And
Okay.
like even, there's kids in the neighborhood that run around and play half the time barefoot. There's a big gash, when you're on the street and before you get onto the grass where the sidewalk is.
Right.
Thank you for watching.
There's a gash about this big missing out of the cement that's jaggedy. I
Okay.
think it's a liability.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, and
Obrigado, guys, por tudo que vocês têm feito. Vocês são os melhores comunicadores.
I apologize.
And I will see you afterwards, yes.
Yeah, I'm very happy and thankful that you brought that to my attention, because that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And at the end of the day, and just, not that it's gonna take this long, but as an FYI for you and everyone else here, anytime we make any improvements like that, ultimately the city of Claremont will come through, they'll make their own checklist, and if there are any items that are not done to their standards, then we'll have to go back and do them again. So, that's not to say that I'm gonna let it ride. I am gonna get your information, but the city of Claremont ultimately has their own checklist to make sure that everything is done properly, just so everyone knows.
I just want to add, a very good friend of mine, sons of the family, he was over and he's a construction engineer for a competitor.
Right.
And he explained to me why this needed to be done, because, the part that's, what do you call it? It's like where all the water runs, the
Yeah,
cement
like
and
the gutter,
concrete
yeah.
part. Well, the paved part isn't level with the concrete part. Because they
Oh,
never
okay. There
finished it.
may be another lift needed in that area.
Yeah.
That could be it,
That's
because
what I'm
that's what
talking
happens.
about, yeah.
If you know, like, so when you, for example, in the road where you have the storm drain covers,
Yes.
is
That's
the
what I'm talking
pavement
about.
lower than those as well?
No, the storm drain covers, well, I didn't actually per se look at them. okay?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I was only
Yeah,
asking
but
because.
the street isn't level with that part.
Right,
Because
okay,
they still
so
need
it
that
could,
labor.
yeah, so they obviously missed that section,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Well, you know, as we spoke about, just get with me when we're done here.
I will.
And I'll take your information down and
Yes.
then I'll follow up with Chris on
I'm
that.
actually just have some pictures of myself on the show. Because I
Okay.
have sent them out, but I may have deleted them, I don't know.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you so much. Do we have anyone online? I see a couple of hands up, so we can take someone who's online for a question. Let's start with Jennifer, she's first.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I have a couple of questions in my 20 minutes. Real quick, on the gated side for the other phases, can you explain a little bit about why those phases are having gates?
So, if you look down at the budget for the 2026 year, and let me just check myself before I speak out of turn. Right, so, at one point in time, part of our development plan was to have gated sections in both phase 2 and phase 5. However, those gated sections have since been removed from the plat and the plans. And so if you look at the budget, there are $0 amounts in each of those, for each of those line items because they have been removed from the budget.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Thank you. And sorry, I lost my place. Give me 1 second. On the holiday decorations, really quick, I saw that there was 14,000 holiday decorations for the clubhouse, and then there's a 10,000 for the community itself. Is that correct?
So, okay, just bear with me a second, let me,
Sure.
Okay, so if you look under general, okay, so holiday decorations, right, so the $10,000 is, going to cover the, monument signs at the entrances to the community. And we have quite a few additional because as everyone here is aware, there are going to be quite a few phases in Wellness Ridge. We also have a budget, but I'm going to have, so is this from both?
So we added, because it's a clubhouse.
So that wasn't, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking now, where we clubhouse. I lost my place too, bear with me for a second. Oh, here we go. Okay, so $14,000. We did recently, so obviously because the amenity has not even been, I mean, it's been in construction for less than a year now. So that was not something that we included in the budget for 2025 that are now including because, as I mentioned previously, the amenity will be opening in the first quarter of 2026. So that includes that amenity, and we also, as I mentioned previously, for the other holiday decorations, those are for the monument signs, any palm trees that might be behind the monument signs. Does that answer your question?
Well, I see it as 2 line items. At first I thought it was 1, and so under general and administrative total, it's showing 10,000 proposed. Last year, when I looked at last year's budget, it looked like they proposed the 10,000 last year, but then settled for 4,000. So that's where that was showing. But then there's a separate line item that just shows 14,000. So I guess trying to understand, of course we want to be somewhat decorated and stuff, but it just seems, like a good dollar amount for, especially the holiday decorations that's being proposed for the community, showing as a line item as 7 under general administrative 10,000. Again, we approved, I guess, last year 4,000, and then this year, obviously nothing was approved before because the amenity was not open, and now it looks like it's just for the amenities that it's 14,000. It just seems a little excessive. And does it?
I have to agree with you on that, to be honest, and thank you for bringing that to my attention, because I think, the board approved the holiday decoration proposal for the amenity, and I think probably what should have happened on this budget, and I'll have to do my research, but again, I appreciate you bringing it to my attention, because I think probably what should have happened is the numbers should have, perhaps the numbers were transposed. In other words, because we are going to have so many monument signs in the community, I think probably the 14,000 should have been under, under general, and then 10,000 for the amenity. So, but I will do the research on that. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Just one follow-up on that is that, so are these just the decorations, or is this including the utility costs to, light it? And again, last year it was proposed for 10,000, but was settled for 4,000. And I get that we're going to open up more faces and stuff or monuments, but still, yeah. So I appreciate you getting back, but if you could get back on what, in a way, a little bit of a breakdown of what that entails.
So if you notice on the budget, we have separate line items for the utilities, and the utilities will cover the utilities for the holiday lights, but also, that's we have utilities in the, we have electric in the clubhouse section as well, and so that does include any electricity used for the holiday decorations that are put up.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else here? Yes, sir.
Lady in the back.
Oh,
She had her hand up.
Sorry.
But two, three
I
times.
didn't see your hand.
I don't know if I need to use this, but,
You can stand up and yell.
2 questions.
Sure.
Back to the trees. My next door neighbor had one that was, in this situation, totally dead, had been so for months. They did replace it. It was dead within a week. And my, not question, but my comment on that is, since we're hiring a company that's not checking to see if it's being watered, then we should have had somebody come alongside them and make sure that the sprinklers are working, because our landscapers are not doing that.
Well, in fact, Floorlawn is doing that. I just got a call.
But now they are. They haven't, and I promise you, I watched, because I was very aggravated with a dead tree there for 3
Right.
months.
Well, and so, and to be honest, so I mentioned earlier in the meeting that I did have an on-site meeting with Matlack Tree Farm, which is who we, engaged
Right, but
to do the
it's
work.
our responsibility as an HOA or a community to make sure that what they do.
Right, and so after I had my on-site meeting with Matlack, I did an inspection myself, and I made a list of all of the items that were not done correctly, and that list was passed on to Floorlawn. So what they have done is they have come up now with a new list of items, because as I also mentioned previously, the Matlack Tree Farm was unwilling to work with us in any way, and so I understand your concern. Floorlawn does have a list, and they are working through that list.
Okay, and I've also sent in notices every month since June on the landscaping on Armstrong. There's probably about 10 yards that are complete weeds, and it is spreading. It started at the townhomes, and when the wind blows or the mower blades mow down the street, all the yards, there's probably 5 that need to be totally replaced. Them spraying is not going to work, or if someone's got to come and dig them out. And I've been told that that information's been given to Floorlawn, but nothing's been done in that area. Nothing. And our road along with hers, has not been paved. They came and dug up the curbs, and they dug up the grass, which wasn't replaced, but they dug up the curbs, and there's like a 2-inch gap between the curb and the blacktop.
Right.
That someone's gonna fall in. I have to tell my dog when we walk, okay, jump. So, that's
Okay,
not been
so
done
do you have,
either.
do you have that information of those 5 yards? Yeah. I'm sorry, did you say 4 or 5?
It's the whole block, and I videoed them, I sent addresses, I sent pictures. And it's not my yard, because I hire a company to come out and spray, because Florilon does not spray. And I weed my yard, but it's on both sides.
Sure.
It's on multiple townhomes
Okay.
as well.
So,
I have a picture of it.
Email. So what's the plan? Weeds are a tough one to manage because the weeds get, picked up by a lawnmower. That does happen. Sometimes they do spray for it, so they are.
But they're not
aware.
spraying.
They are aware of it and they are working on. Well, if you can send a follow-up email, include one of the colors and copy me on that, just so I can give an update. I appreciate you letting me know about that because I know Lauren said she's aware, but I can also get involved with our Florilon account manager to ask them what additional and aggressive actions they can take to try to get a hold on that issue. So I've just asked Lauren to send out an email with me included so that I can become involved in the situation. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I'm sorry, if you could just wait a second, we're gonna go back to the online.
It was just kind of bouncing off of that, so I didn't know if it was gonna be relevant to talk about now. It's about Florilon, question. That's all.
Oh, okay,
I don't know if
yeah.
you wanna cover it now or.
Well, no, if
It's kind of
we'll
related.
get back to you, I promise. We're kind of going back and
That's
forth,
fine, I just
making
didn't
sure
know
we
if you
get
wanted to
everyone.
announce it or-
Yeah, thank you.
So the last one on the chat was talking about the funds allocated from the
Right, and so, I don't know if any of you have ever, I assume everyone has a budget for their household. And let's say, for example, that you have $10,000 budgeted for your utilities for the year, but you only use 5. But then you have a maid service that comes in and you're paying them $15,000 a year. There's an overage in one line item and there's a shortfall in another. And so basically what happens to the funds when we have a line item that goes down, we typically will move those funds to another line item that was under budgeted for the prior year. Does that answer the question?
Does that have to be disclosed?
Pardon?
Does that have to be disclosed where you move the funds, or it's just your discretion?
I think it's based on the monthly financial reports. We look at, we get monthly financial reports from ICON, and that shows us, what our actuals are, what is actually being spent, so that when it comes time, and obviously ICON creates the budget, and then it comes through Lennar for review. And it's their responsibility to review the actual spent based on the monthly financials, and then create the budget accordingly. So it's disclosed by way of the budget that everyone receives in the mailer.
So there
Okay.
and if you have access to the monthly financials, yes, they're posted on the website.
Okay. So, we can go back to you.
Do you want the mic?
Yes.
Okay, it's just,
It's kind of hard for me to read.
okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So to circle back to the Florilon stuff, Lauren, sorry, we've already talked about this before, so, but I do think I would be remiss to not bring up Florilon's extreme negligence in, damage to people's property. I'm almost $1,000 deep in irrigation bill only, just irrigation, because they busted our lawn, busted our sprinkler and while mowing our lawn, and this is not anything bad against Lauren, she's just doing shit, but like, the response was like, hey, you guys are responsible for turning off your water. Yeah, but if I'm out doing something during the day and my water's just I use 121,000 gallons of water. the last time I just turned my irrigation off at this point. That seems like almost an illegal amount of water to like be using. That was a $600 irrigation bill.
I'm sorry, are you talking about like a main line or a
They busted my
irrigation
sprinkler
head?
line mowing my lawn. Then this is not the first time. And this is
So the lines are deep in the ground. That's
they're
not anything
busting
that
the
the mower
plastic
would come in
pieces
contact
and it's
with.
spewing water. I have it on video. I've documented everything. I go around whenever I see someone else's line busted in the neighborhood, I report it. I'm documenting everything. This floor lawn, I see it on the Facebook group almost, I wouldn't say weekly. You guys can attest to that. They're extremely frivolous with the way that they mow the lawn.
Okay.
And it's property damage, and like I understand like mistakes happen, but you are a lawn cutting service. You should be cutting the lawns correctly. I should not be putting $600 in irrigation, which I probably could get in trouble with the city for even using that much water. That's crazy.
So
amount.
yeah, I mean that's a little bit concerning to me again because the irrigation lines are underground.
Whatever it is, they're
So
busting
that's
and
not
spewing
that's not
water.
that's not something that they would
What happened with irrigation, they are underground, but they come up, right?
so
Sometimes.
you're talking about an irrigation head that pops up.
Yeah, so
And they like-
sometimes
okay.
when they
And
come
it
up,
snaps.
the sprinkles, sometimes the mulch get into and they don't let it go down all the way down. But you can see there at all. So when
Okay.
they're cutting, they just don't care and they just go and bust the line. But
Okay.
normally your irrigation is set to be 4 or 5 a.m.
So we're sleeping.
So
when
I'm
it
gonna
goes
have
out.
to wake up every Thursday, whatever that I have to
Right.
get on to check at 4 a.m. to see if it's going like busting
Right,
or-
and then to make sure all the heads are down.
and it's not
Yeah,
only
fair point.
us, like
And
we
it's
have
like-
videos of like multiple houses, especially when they're new, they're
Sure.
shooting water.
It's a ton of water, and
So, I mean, I know Flora Lawn is required per their contract to do monthly irrigation checks. And they have a fairly large crew of maybe 6 or 8 people that do that once a month because there are so many homes there. And any broken heads or, any irrigation related issues are to be addressed.
I mean, I understand that, but at that point, my 121,000 gallons has been spilled already. You know, like the bill is there.
And we submit a
and-
ticket.
Yeah, we
And so
submitted
you
a
didn't
work
Months
realize
ago,
there was,
and
you
it's
didn't
just
realize
been
there was an issue until you got your water bill. Is that what you're saying?
No, I noticed it when I came home and I saw water was gushing, so we turned the water off. Then a couple weeks later, we got the bill, and I'm like, oh, like 120, like $600.
Yeah, but water shouldn't be gushing if the irrigation's not, the irrigation sets to run overnight.
It was gushing. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
I don't know. But
So
it was
Lauren
gushing.
has your address?
Yeah, she knows, and we talked about it, and she kind of.
Lauren, can I add something on this?
And she kind of
Just a
said,
minute.
sorry, I'll keep it. I'll
Yeah, no,
wrap
go
it up.
ahead.
She mentioned that, like, yeah, like put a work order in, like it's kind of above you guys. It's more floor lawn. We did that. We've been ignored. Floor lawn hasn't said anything because I want a reimbursement. Like straight up, the first time we moved in, it went over about $300. This one was $600 because of their damages. And I footed the first one because I was like, things happen. We're kind of working out the kinks. $600 is crazy. Then ignoring us is crazy. And it's not just me. I see it constantly. So I think my question to you is like, what are we gonna do about floor lawn? I'll let everyone else talk.
Yeah, okay, and I appreciate your feedback. They have something to say.
This person has something to add.
Okay.
Yeah, like
go
I just
ahead.
wanted to bring it up while we were talking about it.
So last year, I've been here for almost a year and a half. Last summer, we had a problem with one of our sprinklers to our tree that is in the back of our house that has a drip line that it was leaking in the middle of our yard that we would have never noticed unless the city contacted my wife and was like, whoa, your usage is way out of whack right now. There's got to be a leak going on. So I was just wondering that maybe something like that could possibly be going on with this person's irrigation in question. It would have been it was something that we wouldn't have noticed unless the city had called, and it made our bill a couple $100 more than it should have been for the month, that 1 month as well.
Oh, we had that.
And so, I'm sorry, did you say that the drip line was broken in the middle of the yard, or was it?
Yeah, in the backyard, it was like 6 inches underneath the ground in the dirt.
Right.
It was all of a sudden it just had ruptured there, and it was like a little bit of a sinkhole was starting to form. I didn't think anything of it. I go in the back and cut my grass since I have a fence in the yard, and it was noticed that that's where it was happening. So that was something that the city reached out to us and notified us that our usage was crazy, that there had to be a leak going on.
Right.
So
And
I don't know.
yeah, I know. You know, and I mean, those are. Hopefully, you reported that to Lauren. I will tell you. You know, I attend most of the landscape turnover walks with Lauren and the Floralon crew, and we have had some challenges with the install vendor and their install techniques, especially as it relates to irrigation. And so Floralon has spent a lot of time going back and making all of those repairs. So with the drip line, that, you know, I mean, we've dealt with a lot of bubblers on trees and drip line issues, and they've been addressing those as they find those. But unfortunately, in your situation with your backyard being fenced in, they wouldn't have seen it. But that is a good point. And
well, thankfully, I'm knowledgeable enough since I've worked on golf courses my whole life that I was able to do the repair myself. That's no big deal.
Right.
But their install techniques are horrible. I still have one sprinkler that they broke with their lawnmowers because I do have a fence and our houses are so close together that when they come in there with their zero turn motors and the sprinklers are 4 inches above the threshold of the spot that they have,
right,
that they're just running it over. And they use my mulch bed on the side of the house to turn around their zero turn mowers because the mulch bed is destroyed with their tire tracks. It's blatantly obvious. And they don't have any regard for any of our personal property in our yards. I think somebody else, Austin, posted on our Facebook group that they run over his lights and stuff that are around his home numerous times. So at what point are they being held liable for the damage that they're doing to our property, our personal property, not just the stuff that they break that is their responsibility to fix?
so here's the thing, and this is a little bit challenging for folks to understand, but you know, the contract that we have with Floralon, if for example, and I've noticed this on quite a few homes, if you have installed, let's say, like walkway lights with ARC approval, you know, Floralon is they will be as careful as they can be. They're required to do that, but they're not going to. They can't. If you add something there, then they are not going to be responsible for that. That's not the basic layout of the yard that they were presented with when they contracted for the service. So this has come up once before that I'm aware of, and it could be more, but you know, this is something that, you know, they don't mow around, and they are not going to get off the mower to weedy in and around landscape lighting. With that being said, you know, it's something that I'm happy to you know, to discuss with them. One more second, we need to give someone else an opportunity.
If you hire someone to do a job, they should be doing a good job.
Real quick, one notice on the irrigation. Like Lisa said, Floralon is required to check the irrigation once a month, and if we could ask everybody to please check their own irrigation every week, just to make sure that nothing bubbles up, that would be great. Also, you said that your sprinklers are going out like at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Normally they used to set, but this happened the first month, and
okay,
as we all know, the first month they set it up 2 in the morning and the afternoon as well. So that's how we were able to see it.
I would suggest have them maybe go on like early in the morning when you need to get up, so you can check them too.
Every day.
You can see it.
Every time that they cut the grass, I have to go and like check out, making sure that they didn't damage. And then I have to pay $700.
Yeah.
When you say that they should be checking every time?
But they only check it once a month.
But my thing is, they're hired to do a good job. Why are they not doing their job correctly
Like,
and well?
the
That's
head,
the question I'm
the
having.
whole head
Yeah,
of the
and
sprinkler
we-
was on the floor, on the grass. They can see it. I don't have to walk
Yeah,
and check.
no, and that's an absolutely fair point, and I understand what your concern is. Yes, if they mow over an irrigation head, they can see that they've broken it, and they should send one of their irrigation team members over to fix it. That's easy enough done. So that's something that will be addressed with
I think like our issue is how are we holding them accountable and how are we going to fix these issues? That's the question. Not, oh, you need to check neighborhood wide.
Right.
How are we holding them accountable for doing their job fairly? If I show up to work and start breaking stuff, I'm getting fired. Like, I understand, like, it's not your fault, but I want you guys to be, like, speak for the neighborhood and really.
Well, we do because we're on the board, and,
Yeah,
and
but
I know
you're
what
still
your
here.
concerns are, and we can meet with them. I mean, I have no problem doing that, of course. So that's something that we can do. We can meet with them. I mean, I've done it before where I've even had included the owner of the company in meetings
Well, I know you guys
to
have been in
discuss
my yard
concerns.
before, and I
So,
appreciate that, but
yeah.
it hasn't changed since you've done that. Since
Okay.
you did your walkthrough, nothing changed. If anything, it's the same, if not worse. And I'm documenting every time I see you.
Okay.
I take a picture.
Do we have someone else online?
Yep,
Hello, yes, do you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the insurance increase for the townhomes. And, I truly appreciate the clarification about the insurance costs being relocated to the townhomes, but I have serious concerns about how this was handled. This new charge appeared, from nowhere, basically, and increases our cost from 180 to about 260, about 40% increase. And the thing is that when we purchased our homes, there was no mention that an additional insurance cost was omitted, and that will later be added. So
Yeah.
this was, that is.
Yeah.
So if this was totally accounting error, I think we deserve full transparency,
Yeah, and you absolutely do. And like I said earlier in the meeting, this unfortunately, and Nina or Alex can speak on this. We mentioned earlier that, and Icon has taken full responsibility for this, but there was a manager prior to Lauren, and quite honestly, this was not something that was caught until this year. And it started occurring when we started receiving a certificate of occupancy for the various townhome units. And then Lauren discovered that we had no insurance in place, that the only insurance we had was the general liability and directors and officers insurance. And so while I understand that, this is a significant increase for the owners of the townhome, because what we do every year is put together a build-out budget, which means that we anticipate, or I should say Icon anticipates costs once we are fully built out and everyone is living in every home in the community. And so the $440,000 that has been budgeted is for all of the 440 townhomes that will be built in the community. And so yes, it is a relatively significant increase, and we always, when these budgets come to Lennar, which ultimately they do, we review and we make as many cost cuts as we possibly can to still have a reasonable operating budget. Unfortunately, because this line item was just fully left off, that's what led to the $77 increase. And so,
so there was a accounting error. So
yes,
a professional accounting error. So so that's basically a big one, and really I believe that's why you have a professional insurance in terms of if you make an error of this amount, that affecting basically 440 families or even more, that somebody has to have some responsibility. And and also I believe that we should see what that 400,000 coverage is for, because really we have no information about that. if that coverage may overlap the insurance that we have for our property. So those are the things that we should look at.
So I'm sorry, I'm not sure that I understood your last
Yeah,
but I will tell you that the insurance covers walls out, which is why